Hello, everyone, and welcome to Evolve TV, to our program, The Experts. We are happy today to welcome Mr. Christian Penda Ekoka. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
I'm the advisor of the head of state of Cameroon. I'm also chief executive officer of consulting firm, a business development service, international consultant, and I will say also a political activist. You know.
I've actually heard a lot about you. I've read your works, I've followed your interviews, and you're quite awesome. So I came here today to actually find out lots of things about you first, or from you first. I would want to know your vision for Cameroon when it comes to investment. I am interested in investment, and I want to know what you think that can be done to improve on the investment climate in Cameroon first.
Cameroon is a great paradox because at the same time, we still have a very low level of volume of foreign direct investment, because the stock of foreign direct investment in Cameroon is only about I would say 7 billion CFA, which is about 23% of the GDP, which is really low actually as compared to country that really attract many volume of. It should be the multiple of that. Okay, but at the same time, it's a kind of paradox because Cameroon has a unique geostrategic position within the Gulf of Guinea. This is on the west side, where the Nigerian economy of about 990 million people, and on Central Africa, actually the economic community of Central African state, which represent almost 160 million people. So Cameroon actually is within this basin of, I would say, population of about 250 million people. You see, Nigeria, by the way, or by contrast, is on the economic community of West African state. But actually, Nigeria is on the west border of Cameroon. You see? So without being in acres, Nigeria is the closest border of Cameroon. Actually, Nigeria is closer to Cameroon than Ghana or the Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire, and they're all part of the Ekoka. So actually, Cameroon enjoys this strategic position, having this, almost the first economy of Africa, 990 million people, and 160 million people of the acres. Meaning that Cameroon has this strategic position of 250, being within this basin of 250 million consumers. So on a bird flight, from Douala, the economic capital of Cameroon, you can reach Lagos in less than an hour. You can reach DRC, Kinshasa, in almost an hour. Rwanda, Angola, in 2 hours. So within 2 hours, you can actually reach many capitals within the region. But what I would say is that Cameroon does not actually fully exploit, this strategic position. And in terms of potential, if we look, for instance, when I was talking about 250 million people, it means we have food this level of, in terms of demography, 250 million people was 60% or 60% of this population is less than, I would say, 25 years old. 80% of this population is less than 35 years old. So this population is mainly young people, in needs of various types of material aspiration and physical aspiration and intellectual aspiration. So you can see about the needs in terms of employment, needs in terms of education, needs in terms of leisure, sports, needs in terms of food, needs in terms of housing, so infrastructure, and so on and so forth. So to say, if Cameroon really organizes itself to be the strategic location for many industries, we will be able to attract many investment actually on its land, which is not yet the case. You understand? Which is not yet the case in terms, for instance, of the processing the local processing the natural resources that he has on his land. The Cameroon has a lot of natural endowment in terms of food, agriculture, fisheries, animal husbandry. Many of those things can go for industrial processing and be sold to this market. And also, in terms of mining, the mining sector is almost exploited until now. Cameroon has a base of a lot of mining, including iron ore, diamond, cobalt, bauxite, and so on and so forth. Many of those mines are not yet exploited. But at the same time, Cameroon does not unwind. That's where, when, for instance, we're doing business. We're doing business report of the World Bank, which is an indicator of the easiness of doing business in many countries.
Okay, so what will you propose as a solution to these young people? How do they attract investments despite the very poor investment climate we have?
I think the major constraint for the young people trying to go into the investment or trying to undertake a startup is about financing. So what we would say is that is a kind of hurdles or difficulties or obstacles they are meeting in trying to find investment, in trying to find financing. In the sense that the way the bank system is operating today, the commercial banking system, the formal banking system is not that much open to a young man or a young woman trying to start up a business. As you know, most of the time they are looking for guarantee. And those young people who are willing to undertake a startup, they don't have that guarantee. So we have to organize this banking system or the financing system in such a way that, it can address this kind of issue and overtake it. And one of the proposals would be to create, for instance, a guarantee scheme for a loan towards the small and medium scale enterprises, and even a guarantee scheme for the very small enterprises, because many of those startups will not have the required guarantee, because oftentimes the classical commercial banks will require guarantee that they cannot provide it. This is the way the system is actually working today. And one of the characteristics of this banking system is that less than 15% of the population have a bank account, so have access to the banking service. You can see it that way. And you can see the level of the informal sector developing, greatly in a place like Cameroon, where you see that a great part of GDP in Cameroon depend on the informal sector. And if you want to connect this informal sector, if you want to associate it to the formal financial services, then you have to change paradigm. You have to build it in such a way that you can create investment fund that will access this kind of people. And I think some of the ideas is also about crowdfunding. About trying to bring digital technology into play, because the digital technology can help to try to get to channel funding from informal sector, where you have a great deal of the saving of people towards the very small and medium scale enterprises. So there are a number of ideas of trying to get the digital system, the digital tools, the digital technologies to bridge the gap between the people who have the savings and the informal sector, and that have those funds in the you can see on the microfinance system and the formal system, and channel those level of savings to people who really need it in the productive sector, like small scale enterprises, small startup, young entrepreneurs who don't have the required guarantees, but which in financing. That's why I'm talking about platforms. So there's ideas of trying to see how to bridge this gap between the saving and the users of this saving, or trying to mobilize the saving of those people towards the productive uses by the young entrepreneurs.
Do you think the state has a role to play in facilitating this? What about policy? does policy have a role to play in this? Because we have the microfinances, we actually have them. They are all operating, and they would be awesome for startups, but they don't finance startups. And you also you already mentioned an excellent solution. So how can the state intervene in making sure that this happens?
The idea is to create a mechanism whereby the funds, the saving will be actually channeled from the banks or from the deposit or from the informal sector towards this population which is in need of it. I mean the small users and the small. I'm talking of the young entrepreneurs who don't have the required guarantee. Actually, this is where the state come into play by creating proper mechanism to do it.
I'd like to know, what do you think they can do better to ensure that they are heard, that their voices are heard and taken into consideration?
Trying to build a political force, or trying to go towards a political party or a political movement that can defend, that can advocate their priority, their interest, and this political party or political movement is going to give visibility to the concerns through the electoral, or the political processes. This is the way it works everywhere in a society. When you adhere to become, priority in the political agenda.
Yes, thank you very much. In the absence of state guarantees, what kind of investment options do you think the state can use to maximize, can actually use to raise funds? Because we see the build, transfer, and operate method which works, but it hasn't been working too well because we're still in need of investment capital. So I'm asking, do you have an idea what we could do, other forms of investment we could get engaged, the state could engage in?
When we're talking about public-private partnership, we're talking about another kind of investment whereby, another kind of setting whereby, the private investors and kind of joint venture with, the public partner, I mean the state, to build an infrastructure, an airport, a bridge, and so on and so forth. So the state is inviting a private party into this kind of venture, port, bridge, toll road, to finance the building of it, to operate it for a certain period of time, and at the end of this period of time, this infrastructure will get back to the state. This is a specific mechanism which the state can recourse to, but it's a specific thing. But at the same time, when we are doing into the liberal economy is an economy where you have to go through the project financing without the need for the state to give any guarantee. You just need to go through the project finance mechanism. Between your project is viable, you go through the commercial bank, and the project by itself will be sustainable.
The last word of advice to young people out there, there are so many, and sometimes they need someone to give them some word that reassures them of the future, of what they can gain, like being steadfast, what they can gain being hardworking. What's your last word?
No, I think my last word would be to encourage them not to lose hope in the context of hardship. The future is bright as long as we'll be ready to work together, and we should build the kind of intergenerational gap, between generations, and trying to look into the future with a lot of be positive about the future, like everywhere in the world. Understand? So it requires a change of mindset. It requires from the young people and for the older generation to change the mindset, to become much more modern and connected to what is coming on and as a land of promises.
Okay. Thank you very much. It was nice having you.